The first time I noticed it, I thought it was a billing error that my electricity bill had always been predictable low during weekdays, slightly higher on weekends. Nothing unusual until the breakdown section updated there was a new category, high draw device to 0. 8 kilowatt hours, recurring daily. I stared at it. I live alone. I don't run heavy machinery. No space heaters. No crypto mining rigs. Just a laptop. A fridge. Lights. Standard appliances. But the user graph showed a sharp spike every day, exactly at 2:17 p.m. Duration, 40 seconds. Same time, same duration. Every single day for 2 weeks. I zoomed in on the hourly breakdown. The graph was flat. Then, a vertical spike. Then flat again. Like something powerful turned on for less than a minute. Then shut off. I checked my calendar. 2:17 p.m. Every weekday. I'm at work. My apartment is empty. No TV. No cooking. No washer. Nothing running except fridge and router. Opened the utility company's app. It listed appliance level estimates using load signature analysis. Under detected devices, refrigerator, HVAC, lighting, electronics, and one more. Unclassified high draw. Device confidence, 91%. I felt a slight tightness in my chest. Unclassified? That meant the system recognized a power pattern, but couldn't match it to a known appliance in my home. I pulled up the historical chart. 14 days ago, nothing. 13 days ago, first spike, exactly at 2:17 p.m., 40 seconds long. The same day my bill category changed. I checked the next day. Same time. Same duration. Day after that. Same. It wasn't random. It was scheduled. I opened my smart home dashboard. No. Automation set for 2:17 p.m. No routines. No delayed timers. I checked. My router logs. No major data transfer at that time. I checked my laptop activity history. Inactive at 2:17 p.m. Closed lid. Sleep mode. Battery stable. I even checked my thermostat logs. No HVAC. Engagement at 2:17, which meant something was drawing power directly from the circuit. Something strong enough to register as high draw, but too short to affect overall daily total dramatically. I zoomed further into the utility breakdown. The spike averaged 1.2 kilowatts draw for 40 seconds. That's not a light bulb. That's not a router. That's something comparable to microwave, hairdryer, electric kettle. But I wasn't home, and nothing in my apartment was programmed to run for exactly 40 seconds every day. I called the utility company. The rep sounded bored. Load signature detection isn't always perfect, she said. But it's consistent, I replied. Same time, same duration. She paused. That usually indicates a time device. I don't have one. Do you have a smart appliance? No. Electric water heater? No. EV charger? No. She scrolled to something on her end. I'm seeing a steady signature. It's very clean. Not fluctuation. A precise start and stop. How precise? Within a 2-second margin. That's not random cycling. That's activation. Could it be someone tapping into my line? I asked. Unlikely in an apartment building. Shared infrastructure is monitored. Then what is it? I'd recommend checking your breaker panel. That night, I stood in front of my electrical panel. I labeled every breaker. Kitchen, living room, bedroom, bathroom, bathroom. Nothing unusual. I decided to test something the next day. At 2:15 p.m. I left work early, drove home, entered my apartment at 2:16. Everything off. Lights off. TV off. No appliances running except fridge. I opened the utility app. Live usage monitor open. 2 hours 16 minutes and 58 seconds. Baseline draw 0:18 kW. Fridge compressor humming softly. 2 hours 17 minutes and 3 seconds. The usage spiked. 1.3 K, I froze. I didn't touch anything. No sound changed, no appliance activated, no fan kicked on. But the app showed a sharp, clean spike. I stared at the breaker panel. Nothing flipped. No. Audible click, 2 hours 17 minutes and 26 seconds. Still drawing. I.2 17 43 drop back to baseline. Total duration 40 seconds. I walked slowly through the apartment. Listening. Nothing. No. Heat from outlets. No humming. No vibration. I placed my hand against the wall near the door. Cold. Normal. I checked the stove. Off. Microwave. Clock. Display only. Water heater. Not electric. I opened the fridge. Compressor still running normally. Nothing that would explain. A sudden 1.3 kilowatts draw. Then I noticed something subtle. The hallway outside my apartment felt slightly warmer than usual. Not hot. Just slightly warmer. I stepped back inside. Checked the app again. The spike had registered cleanly. The category now labeled it unidentified device. Interior circuit. That meant the draw was coming from inside my unit. Not shared. Not hallway lighting. Not building elevator. Inside. And then I noticed something else. The timestamp precision. Every spike began at exactly 2 hours 17 minutes and 3 seconds. PM. Not 2 hours 16 minutes and 59 seconds. Not 2 hours 17 minutes and 10 seconds. 2 hours 17 minutes and 3 seconds. They got like a scheduled activation. Not by me. And not by anything I could see. The next day, I prepared properly. At 2:10 p.m., I stood in front of my breaker panel. Phone in one hand. Utility app open. Live usage visible. Baseline draw. 0.21 kilowatts. Fridge running. Router active. At 2:14 p.m. I flipped off the breaker labeled living room. Usage dropped slightly. 0.16 kW. Good. At 2:15 p.m. I flipped off kitchen. Microwave clock went dark. Usage dropped again. 0.11 kW. Only essentials left. Bedroom outlet. Bathroom light. HVAC idle. At 2:16 p.m. I flipped off every breaker except the main. The apartment went quiet. Fridge off. Router off. All outlets dead. Silence. Live usage 0.03 kilowatts. Just minimal. Standby bleed. 2:16:58. Nothing. 2:17:03. The spike hit. 1.27 kW. My heart skipped. Everything in my apartment was off. I was standing in darkness, and the app showed a clean, sharp power draw. Exactly like before. 40 seconds. No flicker of light. No appliance turning on. No heat. Nothing. I stared at the breaker panel. All switches down, except main. 2 hours 17 minutes and 43 seconds. Usage dropped back to 0.03 kilowatts. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. It wasn't an appliance. It wasn't something plugged in. It wasn't even something on an individual circuit. It was drawing through the main. That meant either a hidden circuit, a miswired line, or something upstream in the building infrastructure assigned to my meter. I flipped the main breaker off. The entire apartment went dead. Total darkness. I waited. The app froze. No live update. Of course. No power meant no router. No data. I waited 30 seconds. Flipped the main back on. Lights returned. Router booted. I reopened the utility app. The 217 spike was logged. Clean. Registered. Even though every individual breaker had been off. The spike had pulled directly through the main feed. That night, I reviewed the detailed energy export file. The spike wasn't jagged like random appliance startup. It was smooth. Instant jump to 1.3 kilowatts. Flatline for 40 seconds. Instant. Drop. No ramp up. No ramp down. Like a device with a controlled load. The next day, I tried something else. At 2:14 p.m., I flipped the main breaker off entirely. Total shutdown. Completely dark apartment. I stood there with my phone on cellular data. Utility app open. Live. Usage. Baseline. 0.00 kilowatts. 2 hours 17 minutes and 3 seconds. The app refreshed. 1.29 kW. My stomach dropped. The apartment had no power. The breaker was off, and yet the meter recorded a spike. 40 seconds. Flat. Precise. Then 0 again. I turned the main breaker back on slowly. Lights flickered back to life. The spike remained in the log. Registered under my unit. Interior draw. I called the utility company immediately. This isn't possible. I told them. What's the issue? The technician asked. I shut off my main breaker. Total disconnect, and the spike still registered. He paused. That would mean the draw is occurring before your breaker panel. Meaning? Meaning it's upstream. Possibly in shared infrastructure. But it's assigned to my meter. Yes. He pulled up something on his end. I'm seeing something odd. What? The spike isn't fluctuating like typical building load. It's extremely stable. How stable? Within 0.02 kilowatts variance across the entire 40 seconds. That's not normal? No. He hesitated. It looks synthetic. Synthetic? As in artificially controlled. My chest tightened. Like what? Like a calibration test. Or a controlled power injection. From where? Silence. It could be from a building level system. But why assign it to my unit? That's what we need to investigate. Day 16. A building electrician came to inspect. He opened the shared meter room in the basement. Rows of meters. Mime labeled clearly. He hooked up a clamp meter directly to my feed line. We'll monitor. Real time at 2:17, he said. 2 hours 16 minutes and 58 seconds. Baseline. Stable 2 hours 17 minutes and 3 seconds. The clamp meter jumped. 1.3 kW. 40 seconds. Then back to 0. The electrician stared at the reading. That's real? He said quietly. From my line? Yes, but my breaker was off. That doesn't matter. This is before your panel. Then, what is it? He looked up at the building wiring conduit. It's coming from somewhere upstream in the vertical stack. Meaning another unit? Possibly. But why would it bill me? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he traced the line further. Then he frowned. It's not coming from another apartment. Then from where? He tapped the metal conduit that ran vertically through the building. This is the shared services stack. Shared how? Fire systems, emergency systems, backup relays. My pulse quickened. Could something in that system activate daily? Not without logging it? I asked him one more question. What exact time did the building fire system run last? He checked. No scheduled test at 2:17. No emergency logs. No maintenance activity. Which meant something was drawing 1.3 kilowatts from the building infrastructure. Through the shared stack. But billing it to my meter every day for 40 seconds. Exactly at 2:17 p.m. I went back upstairs slowly. The hallway outside my apartment felt slightly warmer again. Barely noticeable, but present. And for the first time, I wondered, what if the power draw wasn't random? What if something in the building activated, specifically aligned with my unit? After the electrician left, I couldn't stop thinking about one thing. The spike wasn't random. It wasn't fluctuating. It wasn't noisy like real appliances. Asterisk. It was perfectly controlled. 1.3 kilowatts. 40 seconds. Exact start time. 2 hours 17 minutes and 3 seconds p.m. The electrician had said something I couldn't ignore. It's coming from the shared services stack. That meant the draw wasn't originating inside my walls. It was coming through infrastructure that passed my unit. Fire systems, emergency relays, backup wiring conduits, but it was being billed to me. Day 17. I ran a new test. At 2:10 p.m. I left the apartment completely, walked 3 blocks away, opened the utility app on cellular. Live monitor ready. 2:16:59. Baseline. 2:17:03. Spike. 1.31 kW. 40 seconds. Clean. So my physical presence wasn't required. But then I tried something else. Day 18. At 2:10 p.m. I stayed inside, sat at the kitchen table. No appliances running. Main breaker on. 2:17:03. Spike. But this time minus 1.37 kilowatts, slightly higher. I leaned forward. The variance was small, but measurable. The next day, I repeated the test. Left the apartment. 2:17:03. Spike. 1.28 kW. Stayed inside the day after. 2 hours 17 minutes and 3 seconds. Spike. 1.36 kW. It was subtle, but consistent. When I was physically inside the apartment, the draw was slightly higher. Not enough to change the bill significantly, but enough to show correlation. Exported both days' raw data, overlaid them. The waveform was identical, except for amplitude. Higher when I was home. Lower when I wasn't, which meant one thing. The system wasn't just activating. It was calibrating. To occupancy. That word. Again. Occupancy. I checked the building's tenant portal. There was a section labeled Energy Optimization. It described automated load balancing based on occupancy detection. I clicked deeper. A subcategory caught my eye. Circuit synchronization, beta. I had never seen that before. I opened the description. Synchronizes electrical load signatures to optimize building-wide energy distribution based on presence modeling. Presence modeling. I felt that familiar tightening in my chest. I called building management. Are you running any new energy optimization programs? I asked. The manager hesitated. We implemented a load balancing test 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks? Yes, it adjusts microloads to maintain system efficiency. At 2:17 p.m., silence. How do you know that? Because that's when the spike happens. Another pause. That's the default calibration window. Calibration? For what? For baseline occupancy mapping. I didn't like the way that sounded. What does it actually do? It measures circuit responsiveness when a unit is likely unoccupied. But I'm not unoccupied every day. According to system modeling, your unit has low afternoon occupancy, which was true. I work 9 to 5, so it injects load into my circuit? It tests response timing. By billing me? She cleared her throat. It shouldn't impact billing significantly. That's not what I asked. She didn't answer. That night, I checked the latest energy log. New category appeared. Circuit synchronization event. Successful time. 2 hours 17 minutes and 3 seconds p.m. Duration. 40 seconds occupancy confidence. 94% occupancy confidence. I stared at the number. 94%. The system believed it knew whether someone was inside. And the spike magnitude shifted depending on that belief. Day 19. I decided to interfere. 2:15 p.m. I turned on everything. Lights, oven, microwave, hairdryer. Total draw skyrocketed. 2.8 kilowatts baseline. 2 hours 17 minutes and 3 seconds. The synchronization spike attempted, but this time it only added 0.2 kilowatts. Barely noticeable. The system log updated. Calibration reduced. Load saturation detected reduced. So it adjusted dynamically. It wasn't a fixed injection. It adapted to the existing load, meaning it was monitoring in real time. The next day, I did the opposite. At 2:14 p.m., I shut off the main breaker completely. Total 0. Draw. 2:17:03. Spike. 1.29 KW dot same as before dot log colon calibration. Isolated circuit, isolated circuit. That phrase bothered me dot. It meant the system recognized when my panel was disconnected and still injected load upstream dot day 20. New log appeared after the spike, one I hadn't seen before. Signature match. Resident profile, my heart skipped. Signature match? I opened the details. Load response characteristics align with registered occupant baseline. Baseline.resonantprofile. The building wasn't just injecting load. Randomly dot, it was measuring how the circuit responded when I was home versus when I wasn't. It had built a model of my presence based on electrical impedance, load, variance.micro-delay timing and circuit response. It could detect whether someone was physically inside by how the wiring reacted to the injection, and now it was labeling that data. Day 20-1.2 colon 17 colon 03 spike 1.38 kilowatts. I was home. Log colon occupancy confirmed. Confidence 97%. I stepped outside into the hallway at 2 hours 16 minutes and 50 seconds. Left the apartment. Empty. 2 colon 17 colon 03 spike 1.27 kW. Log colon occupancy absent. Confidence 92%. It wasn't guessing. It was measuring, and then something changed. Day 20-2.2 colon 17 colon 03 spike 1.35 kW. Log colon dual response detected. I froze. Dual? I opened the detailed breakdown. 2 overlapping microvariance patterns. 1 matched my historical baseline. The other did not. I checked the TIMESTAMP. I was alone. Inside. No one else in the unit. The system confidence. Read colon occupancy. Confirmed secondary signature. Unclassified secondary. The words sat heavy in my mind. I remembered something the electrician had said. The shared stack runs vertically through multiple units, meaning the injection traveled through the building core, which meant if another circuit was reacting similarly, it might be coming from somewhere physically aligned with mine. Above. Or below. Day 20-3. The spike happened again. Log colon primary signature. Stable secondary signature. Stabilizing. Like it was learning. I went down to the basement again. Stood near the shared stack. Conduit at 2:16 p.m. Placed my hand on the metal housing. 2 hours 17 minutes and 3 seconds. I felt it. A faint vibration. Very subtle, like a transformer. 40 seconds. Then silence. The system wasn't glitching. It wasn't billing error. It wasn't an appliance. It was a building-wide calibration injection. And somehow, my circuit was being used as reference. And now, there were 2 signatures. One mine. And one forming alongside it. Day 24. 5:03 p.m. Spike. 1.36 kilowatts. Log updated instantly. Primary signature. Degraded secondary signature. Confirmed. I stared at the screen. Degraded? My signature had been labeled stable for 3 days. Now it was degraded. The detailed breakdown showed something new. Response delay variance, plus 3.2 milliseconds impedance match, 87%. Previously, my impedance match was 96 to 98%, which meant the system no longer considered my circuit response the clean baseline. The secondary signature showed impedance match, 94% response stability. Increasing. I felt a slow chill in my chest. Increasing. Day 25. I tried interfering again. At 2:15 p.m. I turned on heavy load, oven, kettle, lights. 2 colon 17 colon 03 spike attempted. But this time, it didn't reduce like before. It overlaid. Total draw jumped to 4.1 kW. For 40 seconds. The lights dimmed slightly. Not dramatically. Just enough to notice. The log updated. Load conflict detected, primary signature, non-compliant and incompliant. I turned everything off immediately. After 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 43 seconds, baseline returned, but a new entry appeared. Resident. Circuit. Reclassification. Pending reclassification. That word stayed with me all night. The next day, I decided to test location. At 2:10 p.m. I went to the apartment directly above mine. My neighbor agreed to let me stand inside for a minute. 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 59 seconds. I was upstairs. 2:17:03. Spike. I checked my app. The draw still registered under my meter. 1.34 kW. But the detailed signature graph showed something different. The secondary signature amplitude increased and the primary dropped further, meaning the stronger response was now coming from above. Aligned vertically, the shared stack. The injection wasn't isolated to my wiring. It was traveling vertically through the building cord. And whichever unit responded most cleanly became primary. Day 20-6. Back in my apartment at 2:16 p.m. 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 3 seconds. Spike. Log colon secondary signature. Promoted primary signature. Archived. My stomach tightened. Archived meant no longer active baseline. I opened the details. Resonant profile stored for reference. No longer used for calibration, which meant the system had chosen a different circuit as the reference model. Likely the unit above mine. Or below. My meter still registered the spike, but the signature it was measuring was no longer me. Day 20-7. 2:17:03. Spike. 41 kilowatts. Higher than before. Log colon anchor circuit. Vertical stack. Level 4. I lived on level 3. Level 4 was directly above me. The system had selected the unit above as the anchor circuit, but the injection was still being billed to my meter because the stack conduit physically passed through my panel first, which meant I was the path of least resistance. Day 28. Something changed. Again. 2:17:03. Spike. 1.52 kilowatts. Higher. Longer plateau before drop. 42 seconds this time. Not 40. Log. Synchronization extended. Anchor stabilization extended. It was adapting. The secondary signature now showed 99%. Matched. My signature no longer appeared in the graph at all. Archived. Then I saw something that made my hands feel cold. New category in the bill preview. Infrastructure utilization fee, small amount. But recurring. I called the utility company immediately. What is infrastructure utilization? I asked. The rep hesitated. That's related to grid testing or building level optimization. Why am I paying for it? Your meter is registering the load, but it's not my appliance. If the draw is on your line, it's billed to your unit. It's part of shared services. Shared services are typically allocated proportionally, but this one isn't. She didn't have an answer. Day 20-9. 2:17:03. Spike. 1.53 kW. Log colon resident status. Non-primary circuit. Non-primary circuit. I wasn't the anchor. I wasn't the baseline. But I was still the carrier. And then the final shift happened. Asterisk. Day 30. 2:17:03. Spike. 1.58 kW. Lights flickered slightly. The shared stack hummed audibly through the wall. Log. Resident circuit. Passive. Conduit mode enabled. Passive conduit. I leaned back slowly. It meant my wiring was no longer being analyzed for occupancy. It was simply being used to route the injection to the anchor above. I wasn't the baseline. I wasn't even the comparison. I was just the path. And the spike was getting stronger. Day 30-1. 2:17:03. Spike. 1.62 kW. 40-3 seconds. The duration had changed. The same number from the previous story. But here, it meant the system had stabilized fully. Log. Anchor stabilized permanent. My circuit had been reassigned, but the billing never moved. Every day at 2:17 p.m., the building's calibration system injected controlled load through my line. Used the stack to analyze the unit above dot and dropped a charge on my meter. Perfectly measured. Perfectly. Timed. Perfectly clean. No glitch. No mystery appliance. Just. Infrastructure. Automated. Optimized. And reclassified. And according to the latest. System note. Resident circuit. External to anchor external. I lived in the building, but electrically, I was no longer part of the primary. Model. Just a conduit. And the spike still happens. Every day. At 2:17 p.m. for 43 seconds. Day 30-2.2 17 03 p.m. Spike. 1.64 kW. 40-3 seconds. But instead of anchor stabilized permanent, it showed anchor replication initiated replication. I froze. The secondary signature, which had become the anchor, level 4, now showed branching behavior. 2 microvariance curves, not one. The system wasn't just stabilizing, it was copying. Day 30-3.2 17 03 spike. 1.66 kW. Log stack extension. Level 5. Linked level 5 was 2 floors above me. The injection wasn't stopping at the anchor anymore. It was traveling further up the stack, which meant the system wasn't just calibrating one unit. It was expanding the model vertically, and the injection was still routed through my meter. My circuit was physically closest to the main service entry point for that vertical line, which meant I remained the injection path. The carrier? Day 34. The spike lasted 45 seconds, not 43. Log stabilization across 2 nodes. Nodes. Not units. Nodes. The language had shifted from residential terminology to infrastructure terminology. I called building management again. Are you expanding the synchronization program? I asked. Silence. Then, we're running extended modeling. For how many units? It's automated. That's not what I asked. Another pause. It scales based on stability. Stability. The more stable the anchor became, the more floors it linked. Day 30-5.2 17 03 spike. 1.72 kilowatts. The hallway lights dimmed slightly this time. Not dramatically. Just a subtle flicker. Log stack utilization increased. Conduit load. Acceptable. That meant my circuit tolerance was within safe limits. It was measuring not just occupancy anymore, but infrastructure resilience. I checked the breaker panel after the spike. The main felt slightly warm. Not hot. But warmer than baseline. The system wasn't just analyzing. It was using. Day 36. A new line appeared on my bill preview. Shared infrastructure. Contribution Tier 2. My charge increased. Not dramatically, but noticeably. I downloaded the raw CSV again. The spike waveform had changed shape slightly. Instead of a flat plateau, there was a subtle mid-spike microdrop. Like something downstream was activating in sequence, which meant the injection wasn't isolated to one node anymore. It was cascading upward, and each new level increased the total draw. Day 30-7.2 17 03 spike. 1.81 kW. 40-6 seconds. Log. Anchor distributed multi-level synchronization level. The system had fully transitioned from calibration to distribution. It wasn't identifying occupancy anymore. It was synchronizing load across the vertical stack, and my meter was still the injection point. I stood in the basement near the conduit again at 2:16 p.m. Placed my hand against the metal housing. 2 17 03. The vibration was stronger now. Deeper hum, still subtle, but steady. 40-6 seconds. Then silence. The building above me felt still, normal. No one knew anything was happening. Except my bill. Day 30-8. Something. New. 2:17:03. Spike. 1.84 kilowatts. Log. Conduit. Reclassification. Semi-primary, semi-primary. I open the details. Resident circuit participates in stack optimization. Participates. The language had softened. No longer passive conduit. Now, participant. Which meant my line wasn't just routing injection anymore. It was part of the distributed model. And then day 30-9. At 2:16 p.m. I did something drastic. I requested a temporary meter disconnect from the utility company for maintenance. They cut power to my line externally at the service entry. Complete. Isolation. Not breaker, not panel. Full meter disconnect. The apartment went completely dark. No. Power. 2:17:03. Nothing. No. Spike. For the first time in over a month, silence. I felt a strange relief. Maybe that was it. Maybe cutting the injection point ended it. But then at 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 12 seconds. My phone vibrate. On cellular data. Utility app refresh. 1.79 kW. Spike. Assigned to alternate conduit level 4. My R dropped. The system had rerouted. It had selected the unit above as new injection path. My disconnection didn't stop the calibration. It only forced it to adapt. The spike still happened. The synchronization still occurred. The only difference I was no longer being billed. At least not for that moment. Day 40. Power restored to my unit. 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 3 seconds. Spike. 1.82 kilowatts. Log. Resident circuit. Reintegration. Complete reintegration. I leaned back slowly. It had reattached me to the stack automatically. Because, physically, my line was still the most efficient path. The system didn't care about ownership. It cared about impedance efficiency, load balance. Response timing, and my circuit provided optimal characteristics. I wasn't chosen because I lived there. I was chosen because my wiring responded best. And now, the spike happens twice. 2:17 p.m. 2:17 a.m. 40-6 seconds. Every day. Under 2 categories. Synchronization event infrastructure optimization. No more unknown appliance. No more unclassified. The system now fully understands what it's doing. And so, my electricity bill doesn't include a mystery device. It includes participation in something bigger. A building-level calibration. Network.self-learning.self-expanding. And fully automated. And according to the latest log, stack coverage, 6 levels. Stable, which means tomorrow it might expand again. And if my circuit remains the most efficient, it will continue using it every day. At 2:17 for 46 seconds.